Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, all right, we live, fam. I thought, ain't we in a Saturn retrograde?
Yeah, well, Saturn retrograde is not really consequential.
Oh, okay.
But we're in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, though. So
Oh,
that's with all of this Gemini energy going on, that's pretty heavy.
oh, okay, okay. Peace, family. We live. I started out my year with this sister right here. First show of the year, I did this when this channel was suspended. Aquarius Maximus actually joined my other channel. So I want to welcome you to my main channel now, Aquarius Maximus, the queen of crypto. What's going on, pieces? Welcome to the show. You, oh, I think she having a reception problem. Peace, sis. You hear me?
Yeah.
Peace. You can hear me?
Did I lose you?
Yeah, yeah. You lost me for a
Yeah,
second. Okay, you hear me now?
I do.
Uh, okay, all right. Let's make it. All right, I'm gonna let y'all family tell your friends and family, your loved ones that we are now live. Share the link to this video. Let people know on social media platforms. I'm gonna let y'all fill in the room. I'm gonna let Aquarius get situated. Let me get to a few ads and then we're gonna get started, family. It's a wonderful time we're living in. Some powerful energy. I just lost the sister. I'm sure she'll be back. Powerful energy happening right now, family. So yeah, it's gonna be a great show. A lot of learning is gonna be happening tonight. But before we get to that, let me get to a few ads. First and foremost, let me put this on the screen. Don't forget June 6th, my brother Chicago Bitcoin Bully, how to make money in a new digital economy. Going to be covering self-baking, the crypto ecosystem, the NFT marketplace, the metaverse, Web 3.0, altcoins, cryptocurrency, all that good stuff. June 6th, family, digitaleconomy.eventbrite.com. All right, make sure you're there, family. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Besides that, let me see what. Yeah, the hat that I wear on the show is sponsored by this brother right here, Copper Town Mike L. Make sure you call the brother, hit up the brother's website, and get you or somebody you love a crown. Shout out to King Simon, one of the best when it comes to numerology. Text that brother your full name and date of birth, and that brother will surely be able to help you understand your energetic purpose and what are you doing energetically at this moment. All right. So with that being said, all right. How y'all doing in the chat? Yeah, everybody good in the chat? Y'all can hear me good? Just let me make sure y'all can hear me good before we get started. Y'all can hear me good, family? Let me know if y'all can hear me good before we get started. Don't want to start talking and y'all can't hear me. All right. I'm not seeing anybody telling me anything. Can y'all hear me in the chat? Let me know real quick before we get started. All right, thumbs up. Black Zionist, what's good, my brother? You good, Rich? All right. Shout out to the Black Zionist, long-time supporter. All right, so listen, let's get started. Aquarius
Nyla disconnect
Maximus.
for a minute. Hey.
All right, all right. You can hear me good, right, sis?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so we got I'm hearing about a flower moon with a super moon with a blood moon coinciding with a total lunar eclipse. It sounds like a lot happened May 26th today, last night, today, whatever. Let me know. A lot of people are talking all over the internet about what's going on in the cosmos and in space right now and how it's impacting us in our personal lives and in our collective society. So the spirit told me to contact you and talk to you about what's going on with this total lunar eclipse, along with the blood moon, full moon, super moon, all that good stuff. What's going on, Aquarius Maximus? Let's just, let me know what's going on and why should we be, our attention should be on that.
Well, our attention is captivated because not only is there a lot going on, but most of what's going on is affecting the Gemini Sagittarius axis.
Mm-hmm.
And Gemini already is dealing with thought, is dealing with communication, is dealing with all of that. So essentially our minds and our thoughts are being very stimulated by what's going on by these transits. So of course we're all talking about it because this is the axis that deals with communication. You
Mm.
know, um, right now, the North Node is in Gemini, right? And the North Node points to um, essentially some type of evolution that we're jumping into. We're jumping into our destiny collectively. We're talking about the transit North Node, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what the North Node is saying, I want you to pay particular attention to Gemini, all things Gemini, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that also includes Gemini season, right? So we're in
Right, right,
Gemini
right.
season. So that means that there are some things that are destined to take place at this time, destined that are going to affect us as a whole, as a collective. So you best believe within the next couple of weeks, and it's already started, the ball is rolling in terms of massive changes that are affecting us on an intellectual level. Now, the South Node is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is where this full moon and eclipse is taking place. So, what this eclipse is doing, and this is what full moons do. Full moons break down barriers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're like the culmination. They're birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you give birth, the water breaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're breaking down a barrier, and you're dissolving barriers, you're dissolving obstacles so that you can move forward. So that's what the full moon is about. So this full moon taking place in Sagittarius is dissolving or breaking down philosophical barriers, thought patterns, deep generational thought patterns that are preventing us from excelling, if it's preventing us from moving forward with our plans and our goals, right? So if you've been working on something for a long time and it hasn't been manifesting the way that you wanted to, best believe it's tied somehow to your philosophy. You know, maybe your religion is holding you back. Maybe your philosophy is holding you back. Maybe generational patterns of thought, collective philosophies are holding you back. Well, this is the time that stuff is breaking down. You know what I mean? Those thought patterns that have been passed down by your philosophy, and this, of course, comes from your family, your religion, or whatever. These are the things that are holding you back. And these are the things that are being released so that you can move forward with your goals and your individual plans. So this is actually a really, really good time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if a lot of people have followed me before. I've always said that Cancer is the sign for me that rules Black people. Well, Gemini is the 12th house to Cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is the reason why we as Black people communicate through music and through spirituality so well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually a time that we can excel in our communication because we're digging deeper into and using our own spiritual faculties and our intuition, right? And then you combine that with Sagittarius, and Sagittarius gives you the courage to pursue that, like Juan Conley. I mean, we know Sagittarius is nothing's going to keep a Sagittarius from pursuing something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of stubbornness and drive in that, and there's a lot of adventure, right? And those things are necessary for you to be able to overcome overthinking, and Gemini, overcome your overthinking and just get out and do something. Get out and go on an adventure and see where that adventure leads you.
Why do you say Cancer is the sign of Black people?
Well, I think it's very evidential that we're ruled by Cancer, we're ruled by the moon. It's part of the reason why we're so emotional in the way that we do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we do comes
Yeah, you're
out
right.
of the deep waters,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's what Cancer is. Cancer deals with the deep waters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason why we tend to move a little bit slower, so to speak, because there are things that are coming up out of the deep waters that are manifesting and that affect us as a whole. But If you go back into ancient, Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
the prevalent sign for that time was the scarab, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
scarab is heavily connected to Cancer. We look at it as crabs. We often say things about ourselves, crabs in a barrel. We often
Mm-hmm.
say these things that are relevant to us. And Cancer also rules viral, right? Which is why we have so much we have so much what do you call it, social capital. We tend to we influence society, and the things that we put out there go viral. We're the
Mm-hmm.
progenitors of viral stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it's also another reason why we tend to, when they didn't want us moving in their neighborhoods and their areas, because we're a sign of change and things to come. So when we move in their areas and we move in their neighborhoods, they know that we're getting ready to take over, because that's how viral we are, and they
Mm.
understand that.
It's deep. That's deep. Now, how do we? All that sounds great. A person would say, how would they harness that energy that's coming in right now? Like, I want to improve my communication in my way. You want to improve your communication in your way. How do we harness this energy coming in, hitting the planet?
The best way to harness the energy right now is to eliminate and let go of what needs to be let go. What is begging you to be released, let it go. Because full moons, before we go into a full moon, in cardology, I look at the full moon as like a nine, like a nine of
Mm,
spades. And the nine
mm,
is the card of releasing. The nine is the number of releasing, right?
mm,
So
mm,
before anything happens, you got to clean house, you got to release, you got to detox. But detox is not just physical detox. I tell people a lot of times to do a detox just to stimulate an emotional and mental detox. But
mm,
this is the time when we're needing to let go. We're needing to flush things out, because in those things that we're holding on to, wrapped in those things that we're holding on to, are the obstacles to our goals, are the obstacles to our plans, is the stubbornness, or that's preventing us from seeing another viewpoint or seeing things from another perspective.
mm,
So the best thing to do is to let things go. You already know, you always know what needs to be let go. You
mm,
always know what needs to go, and
mm,
sometimes we fight to hold on to those things.
mm,
But what the eclipse does is it literally makes it that much easier. You know what I mean?
mm,
A crisis will come up, an event will come up. You'll come face to face with a situation that demands that you deal with this now. There's no running away from it. You know what I
mm,
mean? And those
mm.
things have already started these weeks that are leading up to today.
It's funny that you mentioned, black people being people of music and communication, improving and having breakthroughs. In my personal life, I had a huge breakthrough with playing the piano. Like, I've been playing the pianos for years, but there's a barrier I couldn't get over, and I had a huge breakthrough. And all I kept saying the past week is, "Yo, why it took so long for me just to understand this? What it seems like a simple concept right now, but I've been playing for like 8 years, but it just hit me right now. Rich, do this, do it this way." So when you say it like that, I resonate with that 100%. Major breakthrough I had. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So Dan,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, the 12th house of the zodiac deals with dissolving barriers, dissolving, dissolving. That's why magic, and you're talking about spiritual magic and doing spiritual work at times. All of that 12th house stuff, because the 12th house dissolves barriers. It
Mm,
breaks down barriers. And a lot of that is being stimulated for people of color. It's dissolving things. We're literally things that have been holding us back, you know, because this is the time. This is literally our time that we're coming into. And the reason
mm,
I say this is because we're in a heavily karmic time. We're getting ready to have our Pluto return. We're getting ready to have an opportunity to do this all over again, to
well, what
rebuild this from scratch.
What that mean? Pluto return. That's us doing it all over. The Pluto return.
And particularly in America, rebuild this country in the with a conscious participation of all parties. You know what I mean? We're
Mm,
getting ready to come into that space to empower people. You know,
mm,
because Pluto is about empowerment, but Pluto also strips power from people who have abused it. You know, so you have
mm,
stripping of power, but you also have the empowerment of people. So we're moving into a position where we're being empowered, right?
mm, mm,
But it doesn't matter if you don't go through your own personal lessons of self-worth, because if you don't feel like you're worth anything, then they can't give you, you know, you can't get any kind of empowerment because your self-worth isn't there. You know, and that's why Uranus right now is in Taurus, because it's working, it's bringing you enlightenment, and it's evolving you in the areas of worthiness. It's trying to show you that you are worthy. You know what I mean? And in order to be able to receive these karmic rewards, you have to be worthy. You have to feel you are worthy to receive it.
mm. Got you. So somebody who's full of doubt or full of fear, they don't get this energy. They don't absorb this energy if you have doubt and fear within you.
No, not at all. And that's why this is a beautiful thing that the North Node is in Gemini. Gemini can be fearless. You know, Gemini is that experimental sign. It's that try anything once. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the North Node is going to drag you kicking and screaming into new experiences, new thought experiences, new
Mm-hmm.
ways of doing it, new plans. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and this is great for us
Mm,
because, you know, as a people, what's been holding us back is our own fears, you
mm-hmm.
know, and our own ability to acknowledge change. You know, change will happen, but if it doesn't happen fast enough, we won't acknowledge that it's happening. We won't embrace that it's happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know? So this is all doing surgery on our minds right now. Our minds are being you know, reworked and rewired to be fearless.
Mm-hmm. I know you're a very spiritual sister, and they say we can only see 10% of the light spectrum. Are you able to tap in and see a person's aura or see what a person may be emitting with their thoughts? Or are you able to tap into any of that?
I always see that person first. Before
Mm,
I see the representative, I always see the auric person. I always see that the spiritual person before I see the auric person. So, you know, I that's what I see first in a person. And
mm,
it's a beautiful thing. It's even stronger if you want to experiment with that type of thing. Then it's always great to meet a person on phone, because when you meet a person over the phone, all you have is the imagination and the spirit to tap into of who that
mm,
person you're dealing with. The problem is we don't have faith in that. You know what I mean? Then we see them, we be like, oh, that was nothing what I was this, that was that spirit. You know what I mean? But that's what I see all the time. I have a
mm,
Pisces ascendant. I have Jupiter and Pisces. So I always see your spirit.
mm, mm. So that's a good way to practice. You said talk to them over the phone first. I definitely any other way
Yeah.
you think we could practice with recognizing a person energetically? Any tips you will give us? Because I think that's real important now.
Well, I'm going to tell you the most important thing with recognizing the energy of a person is knowing your own energy. You got
Mm,
to know who you are, because when you walk into a space with other people, you don't confuse your energy with other people. Or you understand what I'm saying? You know it's
mm,
you.
mm,
And when you
mm,
walk into a space with a new person and you feel something different, and there's something different about that's in the air, you know that that's not you projecting, because you know you. So it's really, really important to know yourself to start feeling the spiritual energy of other people.
mm, mm. Do you think what
And
does
that's why
yeah.
meditation is important.
Mm, mm. What about yoga? Would you recommend yoga in terms of tapping into this?
I would recommend meditation. That's what I think I'd said before, because what meditation does is it helps you to eliminate all of the noise out of your, out of your own persona, so you can
Mm-hmm.
start to perceive things, clearly. So it
Mm-hmm.
lets you bring yourself down to a state of inner peace and quiet, so that all of your spirits ain't talking while other people's spirits are trying to communicate to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you ever, in your meditation or your astral projection or anything, had contact with spirits from these planets? Like you talk about Mars or Venus or Jupiter or Pluto. Have you ever had contact with beings from these planets?
Well, always. When I was younger, I was diagnosed with night terrors or night fits, right? Which,
Mm-hmm.
because I travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I travel,
What do you mean by
I
that? What do you mean by that for the people that don't
because
know?
I travel. Oh, night. Well, they'll say night terrors, night fits, because on the outside they're looking at you interact with the spirit world, right? So they're
Mm-hmm.
seeing you fight, they're seeing you interact, and normally there's a element in your brain that shuts down your physical body activity so that you don't do
Mm-hmm.
all of that, right, while you're sleeping, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when I was sleeping, I would walk, I would fight, I would animate, I would do everything that I was doing in my dreams and in that world. So for me, these beings that you're dealing with, it's not interplanetary, it's interdimensional. You know what I mean? And I think that that's where people kind of confuse it. There are different layers and dimensions, and then there's also creative layers and dimensions that you create yourself out of creativity, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
this is also a reason why it's good to have a point where you bring everything down, because your mind is constantly creating threads of existences. You know what I mean? And if you don't pay any attention to these existences, it doesn't matter. You create these existences, they're constantly snatching you back and forth into these existences, and it's almost like when I tell people, I'm like, creativity is spirits themselves. It's like everything you create, you can create a new piece of art, and that's a spirit that you've
Mm-hmm.
created, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And these things, like, just like when you give birth to babies need attention, so do spirits. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
constantly creating and you're creating these spiritual threads, they're fighting for your attention. That's why people suffer from anxiety, they suffer from a tremendous amount of stress, and the people who suffer from the most anxiety tend to be the most creative people.
Right. Right. That is true. That is true. You know what's weird? You say everything has a spirit. My first car that I had when I was young.
Yeah,
Um,
even colors, like I'm
uh,
watching these colors that are around you in the background. Each and every one of those have a spiritual frequency. They have a spirit of their own.
mm, mm, indeed. So, I had a car. My first car I had when I was younger. I remember specifically when I started. After a while, I wanted a new car. I didn't want that car anymore. So I started mistreating it and I started neglecting it. And when I did that, it started to break down more faster and faster and faster. And I was like, yo, hold up.
Yes,
As soon as I'm like, damn, is it trying to talk to me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as
yes,
soon as I neglected it, it would just start breaking down on me. So I'm like, damn.
yes,
I'm like, does that make any sense? Was I bugging out?
yes. That No, absolutely not. And this is the reason why, when, like I said, when you're creating stuff and you put it down and you go and you do something else,
Mm-hmm.
during these finishing cycles, you want to go back to it. You want to complete it. It's going to pull on you. It's going to tug on you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and you'll know exactly what it is you need to complete and you need to finish, because it's pulling on you. It's tugging on you. It's like, hey, I'm here. I'm an entity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what I've done personally is I practice going back to things and just completing things when I feel like I just can't move forward and I just can't do yet another thing. I have to go back and complete anything that I've started that comes up that's speaking to me, but I can't move forward. And Interestingly, this particular full moon takes place on a 6 of clubs day. And the 6 of
Mm,
clubs deals with going back. It has this 6 of spades. It deals with karmic stuff. So if you feel like you're stuck and you feel like you're not moving forward on something, it always means that you just need to go back and complete something that you've already started.
mm, powerful. That's a problem I have sometimes. So I'm definitely going to keep that in mind. Definitely going to keep that in mind. I want to ask you. When we first started the show, we talked a little bit about Saturn. Why is Saturn considered such an evil planet? Like, is the Saturn
Not
scare
at
you?
all. I love Saturn. Are you
if,
kidding me?
if people think that's an evil Satan, Saturn Satan, so
Oh,
they think Saturn is Satan to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me
I
about Saturn.
love
What?
Saturn.
Talk to me about Saturn.
Saturn is the planet of crystallization. If you want to make something real and long lasting, you have to integrate Saturn. Saturn is
Mm,
going to make it real. You know what I
mm,
mean? We often fall into illusions and we go down rabbits of things that are not real. Saturn makes it real. If it's supposed to be, so be it. And that's what Saturn is. You know what I mean? And you really want to know when you're talking about destiny, like you're talking about the North Node and worthy plans and plans that you're destined to do, you
mm,
need Saturn to reveal that to you. You
mm,
need Saturn to strip away all of the illusion. You need
mm,
Saturn to break down all of the things that are not real so that the light of that thing that is real for you can shine. You
mm,
need Saturn. Saturn is
mm.
like the bomb. You know what I mean? Without Saturn, you're just directionless. Stuff is slipping through your hands. You can't you're going down wrong paths, wrong roads, and not we all go down wrong paths, wrong roads, even with Saturn. However, Saturn is going to prevent you from spending 25 years going down the wrong path.
Mm. Deep. There's some dudes on the internet, some white dudes. I forgot the name of their group, but they say that Saturn used to be the central sun to our solar system. Is there any
Right.
truth to that? You ever heard that before?
Yeah, yeah. There was an age, there was a golden age. And
Mm-hmm.
they say that what may have happened is Saturn may have got knocked into. And when it got knocked off its axis, it became positioned in another way. Now, see, everything in our universe, in our galaxy, affects us in by the way it's positioned, because this is the way that light is going to shine. It's going to shine on our planet by the way these planets are positioned.
Mm-hmm.
So, a planet moving off position is going to change the way that its light is being received on our planet. So they're saying that it used to be it used to, I think, rise above maybe the North Pole or something like that, but
Mm-hmm.
Venus was a dot right in between it.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is, because of its proximity to Venus, it was crystallizing the good energy that we get from Venus. You know what I mean? That beautiful social love, da 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 da, money energy. But when it got knocked out, then our it changed the way our planet was crystallizing energy. So
Mm-hmm.
we fell into, kind of like a dark age. You know what I mean? And it's totally believable, because when you look at something one way, you can look at it another way. One way it can be horrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the light, it's just like when you're in a room, you're in your bedroom and you're a kid, and you got stuff in your bedroom and it's all scaring the shit out of you, right? Because the light ain't on, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as
Mm-hmm.
they turn the light on, you see everything differently. You see, you're no longer in fear. You got your bedroom, it's looking nice and pretty and stuff like that. It's all perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is perspective. So right now, our perspective towards Saturn is skewed,
Mm-hmm.
because of the positioning. And you got to dig a little deeper to find the jewels. You got to dig a little deeper to find the beauty.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But it's all about perception. But you have the power to change your perception of things. You
Mm-hmm.
have the power. So it's always best that when there's something negative in your life, you sit down and you try to examine it with a different set of eyes. Because when you change the perspective, you shift the perspective, you break the spell, you free yourself of that lesson. And now you're able to move on to something greater. And you get rewarded.
Mm-hmm. Do you think from because of your perception, you're able to change things? Like, let's say there's a big debate about whether the earth is round or flat. Depending on my perception, the earth in my reality can be round or flat, or it's a way, whatever I perceive it, it's still a certain way.
That's correct, the way you perceive it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing. We're not all standing in the same perceptual field. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
one shift could change another person's perspective to be in the same field as another group of people. You
Mm-hmm.
know? So there's no need debating over it, because debating over it is just really just a waste of time. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? What what you need to focus on is what draws you to the other people who are in your perceptional field. You know what I mean? Why are you drawn to this group as opposed to this group? What do you have that you could be working with this group? You know, you make
Mm-hmm.
it actionable rather than sitting around. And you know, that's a Sagittarius thing too. We'll sit around and philosophize about shit all day and not get nothing done, not
Mm-hmm.
achieve anything, you know, or make ourselves sitting ducks for a disaster because
Mm-hmm.
we are philosophizing over something that and wasting time. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's one of the negative sides of Sagittarius, you know, is that, you know, we'll rebel so much in our thought with something, you know, and carry it on, that stubbornness, carry on a point to the very end. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's a negative side of Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm. Now we're getting another eclipse in June, right?
Yes, that's a solar eclipse.
Now, what is that one going to bring?
Well, that I've been talking about for a long time because we've been feeling the effects of that solar eclipse for a while. That solar eclipse takes place on a Seven of Diamonds day. It actually takes place on Prince Philip's birthday, and he died. Um, you know what, about 2 months ago.
About 2 months ago, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
some people think that, right, and in a solar eclipse always foretells the death of royalty, the death of a royal figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and not only is it a death of a royal figure, but it was an important royal figure because it just so happened to be one of the royal family members, and they're hoarding wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So, I the Seven of Diamonds on the negative side can deal with hoarding wealth. So when
Mm-hmm.
he died, that's why I predicted that a lot of wealth was going to be released because of his death. It was symbolic of wealth being released and spells being broken. Um, so this has to do with money, right? It has to do with money, and it has to do with how we think about money and how we feel, what worthiness do we feel we have, because we need that spell broken, because we have to pursue what's due us. We have to
Mm-hmm.
pursue reparations. We have to pursue karmic money, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a must,
Mm-hmm.
because you always have to go after what's due you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? This is like cosmic law. If this is owed you, you're gonna have to get it. You gotta go for it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and we need certain barriers dissolved so that we realize that. The reason why that we're not getting the reparations that we deserve is because we didn't yet feel worthy of the
Mm-hmm.
reparations that we deserve. You know, the
Excellent.
spirits are saying, think bigger, think more. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Think, you know, open yourself up to the possibility of more, of abundance, of all of these other things, so that you can really, really get what's due you.
Wow, man, this is a hell of a time we live in, then, huh?
It is Absolutely. There has never been a better time. The ancestors have been waiting for this time.
Before we get into a little Q&A with the people, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got about 1,000 people in the chat room. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit up the donation, the Cash App, the super chat. Show support for a channel that's bringing you this level of information about our reality, our collective reality, and what's going on right now. Very important conversation. Before we get to the Q&A, shout out to Abriella for the Cash App. Before we get into the Q&A, I want to get a couple of questions from y'all. I want the sister, this is the queen of cryptocurrency we talking to right now. Besides the spiritual talk, the queen has invented her own cryptocurrency. And for those who may not have seen you on the... Yeah, there you go. Thanks for correcting me. For those who didn't see the episode we did in the beginning of the year, could you tell the people real quick about GUAP coin?
GUAP coin is a cryptocurrency that I was inspired by the spirits to create, to develop, because they needed a portal to get that wealth to it. They needed that portal to come through. This is them. This is nothing to do with me. They needed also an avenue that we work together, that we build our work and we build this cryptocurrency together. That's the decentralized aspect of it. That's why I said it's not mine. It's ours. It's ours to build. I founded GUAP Coin back in 2017. And I was sparked by my own personal circumstances in terms of raising funds for startups and scaling with money. And also, I always felt that if we were going to support businesses in our community, we need to have our own money. So I really I started looking at cryptocurrency from a different perspective, because I knew about Bitcoin for a long time, but I knew about it from the perspective of, oh, we created this for you. This is going to be good for you. I'm like, no, we can create our own and it'd be good for us. Mm-hmm. So that's when I embarked on that journey.
Indeed. And it's spelled GUAP. I see some people asking, right? GUAP coin, right?
Yes, GUAP coin.
GUAP coin. Yeah, GUAP GUAP coin. All right, family, make sure y'all check it out. Do you have any websites you want to tell the people about if they want more information? Because you do the Cardology, and you did my my chart a couple of years ago.
7 clubs. Yeah.
You sharp with your science. You definitely sharp with your science. Let the people know how they could learn about that.
Well, they can follow me on Instagram or Twitter as Aquarius Maximus, or you can visit my website, aquariusmaximus.com, or you can catch me on my social media platform, New, where I give lectures and stuff on cardology. And then also when it comes to GUAP Coin, you can find GUAP Coin on all social media as GUAP Coin, and you can visit guapcoin.org. GUAP Coin has been great because I've been successful at integrating the spiritual community that I work with and spiritual money. You know what I mean? Because that's what crypto is. Cryptocurrency is spiritual money. So there's been this, I've had a tremendous amount of success bringing the spiritual people over to the idea that we are wealthy and abundant. Spirituality does not mean poverty. Spirituality does not have to mean poverty, does not have to mean that you do without. You know what I mean? I'm pushing people with cardology and through cardology to pursue their dreams. Your dreams, your goals are the manifestation of hundreds of years of your ancestors' spirits and their goals. They want you to dream hard and to pursue those dreams hard.
So you're saying what I want to pursue, my dream and my goals, you said it's hundreds of years of the ancestors wanting to pursue that? I want to get that right.
Yeah.
That's deep. That means there's power behind there's power behind your dreams then. That's a lot of power behind that.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah, it is. It is. And they know the calculable time when these things can manifest. Like, we have very little patience when it comes to a people. We don't understand that a lot of these things transcend millennia. You know, they transcend ages. They transcend people to another age, right? And these are seeds that are planted, and they come into fruition in certain periods in certain ages, and they're coming into fruition now. Think about it. It's a lot of great things that are happening for us. We have to turn our eyes away a little bit from all of the pain and the struggle and the war and the violence and the police violence and the racism and all of that. That's, you know, that's there to light that fire even brighter. You know what I mean? Those things exist to motivate you even more to manifesting your magic.
That's deep. You know, because they say what we put our attention on grows. But sometimes when people could look at the same thing, they energize it differently. So one person may see police brutality and they get inspired to go after their dreams harder than another person could see it, and they feel fearful. So just because we're looking at the same thing doesn't mean we're going to be affected. You know what I'm saying? So that's powerful.
Exactly. I mean, there's, you know, people have to understand the nature of Mars. Mars is not pretty, but Mars is effective. You know, Mars is effective because, you know, we tend to be very, very complacent about things. And if it were not for Mars stirring up the pot, you know, we may sit on our dreams and our goals forever without doing the things that we need to do. Mars comes in and stirs up the pot and gets us in action. It gives us courage. It gives us the I don't give a fuck anymore. It gives us all of that, you know what I mean, to remove obstacles and to move forward to achieving our dreams. Mars is a lot of money, you know, and a lot of people, you know, they don't understand. It's like when a lot of people are dying, there's a lot of money coming into the world. You know what I mean? There's a lot of money being put out there. Mars is money, you know. So a lot of people focus on Jupiter, and they're like, oh, you know, I'm gonna have my Jupiter return, or Jupiter is the planet that's bringing me abundance and stuff like that. But they don't realize Mars is that planet that's gonna go get more and more and more. It's gonna grab it. It's gonna take it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes things have to be acquired in that manner. Not everything is gonna fall in your lap, and that's especially because of your karma in the past. So sometimes you got to go get it.
Indeed. What do you think about all the talk on the news? We're hearing more and more talk about Mars. Tesla wants to go to Mars, and they want to
keep.
Yeah. So why do they keep talking about Mars? And is that a reality? Us going to Mars? Can that really happen?
I think first of all, Mars is prevalent in our dimension right now, right? So we're crossing over a collective dimension that is dealing with Mars. Mars could be right here on Earth, you know, Martian energy. But this is the thing. When you want to know where we're transiting, a lot of times we look at our software in astrology and we look in the skies in astrology, but we don't understand there's a bigger astrology that we can't even see. But the way that we can interpret that astrology is into play is to look at the terms that are being used, to look at what people are pursuing. So if there's something so great being thrown in our face that's involving a trip to Mars, we should understand that we're in a Mars cycle of some sort, right? So then we need to look at everything to do with Mars in order to master this cycle of Mars, right? So Mars, if he's trying to overcome his obstacles to get to Mars, we got obstacles that we can overcome by utilizing Martian energy.
Damn, how we do that? How will we utilize Martian energy? That sounds powerful.
Martian energy is more, but you understand, Martian energy is more than just war. You know what I mean? In my tradition, Ogun, you know, which is essentially the equivalent of Mars, is the ruler of technology. You know what I mean? So that's why you have somebody like Elon Musk. He's going for Mars, but he's also in technology. And he's using technology to overcome those barriers, right? So having that strength and tapping into that strength of technology is key. Technology is a big part of it. We know that technology is a big part of it because we're using it right now. So technology is the key to overcoming obstacles. So we have to pay more attention to technology. We have to support Black tech. We have to support Black people in tech. You know what I mean? Period. And we don't do enough of that. I'm in tech, you know, and I will see, you know, there'll be celebrities and stuff like that that'll get in a tech and get involved in tech, but they'll just kind of run right over us. They won't consult the experts. They won't consult the people, the wizards and the stuff that we have in tech. You know, we're kind of like downplayed, just like everywhere else. You know, we're Black, so we can't be an Elon Musk, or we can't be Bill Gates or whatever. You know what I mean? When we invented it, binary. We invented binary and binary code. So we have to give, when you don't pay homage to your stars, when you don't pay homage to your gods or to your exceptions, then it brings up an energy of you know, it brings up bad energy. It does. You know, that's why there's a lot of stories about certain deities and gods that were not paid attention to. And what did? They sent floods. They sent this, they sent that, they sent chaos only because we didn't give them homage. And this is what happens to human beings when you don't respect human beings for the talents and the gifts that they have, then they put out that energy. You know what I mean? That energy goes out there and that energy is disturbing. When all you have to do is respect and pay homage to those gifts and to those people who bring those gifts.
Speaking of technology, the people, a couple of people are asking about how to get GUAP coin. Somebody said they went on the website, but it wouldn't let them purchase. Can you elaborate on more on purchasing the GUAP coin cryptocurrency?
At the moment, you can get GUAP coin from an exchange called probit.com. But I urge you to join the community first. Join the Telegram. You can join the Telegram. The link is on guapcoin.org. Join the forum, guaptalk.org. And the reason being is because the community is there to help you. You know, some of us can't use exchanges. Some of us exchanges are going to be a bit of a challenge. But we have people who can, and they're there to help you in the communities. So join the community first. That way, if you run into any roadblock, you can say it in the Telegram and instantly somebody is going to tell you how to overcome that roadblock. So join the Telegram, right? So we're listed on probit.com. That's an exchange. Next week, we'll also be on another exchange, P2P, B2B. Eventually, we're going to be in other exchanges, but it takes a community to get there. Doge wasn't on as many exchanges as it was, and until that community grew, until they started talking about it, now it's in all your wallets. Now you can get it certain places. The key to any crypto is building the community. So don't worry about the coin if you're having problems getting the coin. Join the community. You know what I mean? Bring yourself in there, because if you join the community, you're going to get educated. You're going to get help. That's a source of help. Community is what currency is centered around. So join the community and the currency will come to you.
No, that's actually, yeah, I agree 100%. Definitely. It's a different. You gave the people a different perception to have on the whole cryptocurrency. It being community based. So that's something personally I would take with me. Somebody wants to know, is this energy elevating appetites? I've been hungry as F. LOL.
Yes. You can thank a lot of different factors, and it's only going to get worse with Jupiter and Pisces.
Oh man.
Jupiter and Pisces is definitely going to expand your waistline a little bit and open you up to eating more. I actually talked about that last month. You know, we've come out of a phase. We're coming out of a serious 12th house energy dealing with the pandemic. You know what I mean? So now that we're not so worried about the pandemic as much, we're on the other side of that. And that is, you know, eating. That is, you know, partaking in good food. And it's really not so much the eating part. It's the removal of the what restricts us from eating is we start to think about, well, I'm gonna get fat, or I'm gonna do this, or it's gonna do this to me, or this food is not good for me. Pisces removes all of that. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Pisces will make you feel good about stuff. You know what I mean? Pisces is like, I don't care. I'm gonna get fat. I don't care if this, you know, does this and does that or whatever. I'm just gonna fall into this beautifulness, this wonderfulness, this deliciousness. You know, so you're gonna be much more susceptible to things, especially that look good or smell good or taste good, or, you know, all of those heavy, heavy, heavy sensory things. You know, so yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's we're in for a ride for the next 2 years.
Mm. Wow. Let me get to this next question. Well, I just seen it. Where did it go? Oh, could you? Not this. Well, I'll get to that one in a second. But somebody wants to know: could you give some insight on the upcoming Mercury retrograde?
Absolutely. Mercury retrograde is taking place on a 3 of Clubs day, and this is usually how I judge what the energy is going to be like. The 3 of Clubs is the writer. That's on the positive side. It's the creator. So you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
feeling very creative. You're going to jump into creative projects. However, 3 of Clubs is also anxiety and worry. So we've been feeling that anxiety already. We've been feeling that on edge or edgeness already.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 of Clubs is the explosion of mental ideas, right? Negative and positive. So there's going to be some negative events associated with the 3 of Clubs. There's going to be some anti-government type things or government overreaching type things. The 3 of Clubs is a card that's very special to Black folks. You know, this is the card that gets us talking about things and spreading the word about things. You know, so there's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of creativity. It's a very, very, very creative time. Good for business, good for money. Um, but again, you're gonna, because it's Mercury retrograde, you're gonna wanna hold off on the serious contracts until after the retrograde. The reason that we tell you not to enter into serious agreements on retrograde is only one reason. Is because you tend to regret it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that you're not supposed to do something, but when you do something during the retrograde, it plants that seed of what if. Because Mercury is duality. Mercury is like, you know how Geminis are. It's like sometimes I feel like a mess, sometimes I don't. I might
Mm-hmm.
change my mind. But
Mm-hmm.
what Mercury retrograde does is it sends you in this perpetual cycle. Anytime something goes wrong, you think back, well, maybe I shouldn't have did that, because you started it during the retrograde. You start to
Mm-hmm.
question your decisions more. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you shouldn't do it. It's just that you may question your decision. Is the first thing that comes up and goes wrong, you're going to question your decision. So then that's going to prompt you to go back and rework some things, maybe redo it again. So maybe the next retrograde comes, you're redoing a contract you did the previous retrograde, or you're revisiting it. Same thing with relationships. Soon as you and that person gets in an argument, you're thinking back to, damn, should I have done this? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And then you may want to run. You know, so that's the thing with Mercury retrograde. It just causes you to think back. And when we think back, that's when we tend to doubt our decisions.
Okay. Stephen Baker wants to know: we know crypto is here to stay, but do the cards stars say anything important about the short-term market?
Well, if some of you follow me, I predicted this mass dumping. I predicted it before it happened. And I always try to warn people that something is coming. And this market is heavily manipulated. Just know that right now pretty much anything you do that doesn't have a solid basis for doing it is pretty much gambling. You know what I mean? It's gambling, period, because it doesn't have a solid base. These cryptos, even Bitcoin, they're not building mass adoption. They're not investing in the community. They're not investing in people actually building something usable, right? Because they're getting their money. It's a money grab right now. You understand? It's a money grab. It's a serious money grab. Do the numbers. Do the data. Watch people who are doing the numbers. What is happening is these bigger institutions are hoarding Bitcoin, and when they spark these sell-offs, the lower people are the ones that are selling, right? So they're buying the coins off of you. They're buying it, and then they're holding on to it even more. You know what I mean? This is manipulation. What Elon Musk is doing is something that he's been doing for years. He did it in the stocks. He did it. He's doing it now in crypto. He's been saying things that he knows is influential and he knows is going to manipulate the market. He's not stupid. One of the things you got to understand is that one of the first cryptocurrencies, and it wasn't really a cryptocurrency, it wasn't a decentralized, but it was it was what considered to be the first DigiCash, right? This technology was absorbed by PayPal, and who was
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So he's been around this for a very long time. This is not new to him. Don't ever try to make them fall for this being new to these people. They plan this stuff. You know what I mean? Now, does that make blockchain and cryptocurrency bad all around? No. But the jewel in blockchain cryptocurrency is you co-creating a new financial system, not you participating in what they hand you, because they're giving you the same shit we already had. They're giving you that top-down, that bottom-down economics. You know what I mean? Where you get the crumbs. They're giving that to you right now. So be conscious of that. Don't fall into the spell of Bitcoin or anything else. This is your opportunity to co-create your financial future, not to just be a consumer, not to just be a user.
Powerful statements. Powerful. You said the ancestors want us to think big. That surely is thinking big. That surely is thinking big. All right, let me get to one more question, family. Then we're gonna get out of here. Once again, this is Brother Rich on with Aquarius Maximus. We doing our thing. It's been an absolutely magnificent show. We got about 1,100 people in the chat room. I want to thank all of y'all for being with us at 10:36 at night Eastern time. I'm gonna take one more show, then I'm gonna get out of here. I want all y'all to support the queen. Hit her up. Join the GUAP coin community. Go to her website. Let me just show you. I think I showed this before. You know, I'll show it another time before we end. But let me take one more question from the family, and then we're gonna get out of here. All right? Give me a question for Aquarius Maximus. If you missed the show, rewind it. You'll learn something very worthwhile, very important for your spirit and your soul. All right? Somebody 419 says, let me see, where's this at? No, not that. I keep clicking on the wrong one. I'm sorry, y'all. This thing. How does the star card show our future? I don't know if he's talking about your cardology or
Well, I'll give a brief thing of what cardology is. Cardology is a calendar. First and foremost, it's based on the Egyptian calendar. It's 52 cards that represent the 52 weeks of the year, right? And every day is a different energy, and it's symbolized by a card, by a playing card. So knowing that a playing card is identified with a numeric sequence or a series of karmic events, it gives you the opportunity to be able to predict what karmic events are coming when that card shows up. So it's just like if someone You know, back in the days, they used to always show that sometimes that people would leave an ace of spades certain places. You know what I mean? And that would scare people. Why? Because the ace of spades is associated with death and rebirth, right? But these are just two karmic keywords that go with the ace of spades. How about also the days that an ace of spades shows up? Like February 11th is an ace of spades day, right? So if this card shows up, then you can best believe on February 11th, if that day is coming, that something important is going to happen that's transformational. So you get to pinpoint predictions down to days, hours, months, weeks, etc. It's so precise because it's based off a calendar system.
Yeah, I'm just showing y'all my birth card. She gave me a life report reading, so I'm just showing y'all. Yeah, 7 of clubs. So yeah, it's like shit. I got a lot of pages here. It's thorough. It's real thorough. You're 25. You see all these. It's 42 pages, and it's a real thorough breakdown of different different years. I think it's like every 7 years of your life. It's a different card. I think is that it? I think.
Right, because you have a life spread that encapsulates your entire life. So every 13 years, you become a new card. You know, so you're your Mercury card. The first 13 years of your life, you're your Mercury card. The second 13 years of your life, you're your Venus card. So when somebody tells you you never walked in their shoes, likely you have. So you walk through the path of many cards, of many energies. And the 7 of clubs in particular is you know, one of the genius cards that we have. You know, this is one of the genius cards, and this is the one of the cards that has the gift of being able to raise masters and work with masters. It's a spiritual teacher.
Excellent. Proud of that. All right. Somebody asked. Somebody sent the super chat. So let me get to this question real quick. Somebody said, maybe you already answered this, but Solar Guard said, if the moon can control the ocean, can it control our body if we are made of 75% of water?
Well, yeah, I mean, it does control our body. That's why we have a lunar calendar, 13 months of lunar calendar, because it does control different bodily functions in our body system to a degree. And it's not the only force, but it's one of the most powerful forces on us.
Indeed. All right, family, we're going to get out of here. I know the room is packed, but we're going to get out of here right now. Once again, family, I'm going to let the sister leave her contact information. Make sure you'll join the GUAP Coin community. If we have 1,100 people here, then we should have 1,100 new members in the GUAP Coin community by the end of the show. Also, make sure you hit her website, show support with whatever products or services she offers. She has a lot of good stuff, man. I'm letting y'all know. My reading was off the hook. Leave your contact info one more time, Aquarius Maximus, for the family in the that's watching right now.
You can visit my website, aquariusmaximus.com. I'm Aquarius Maximus on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can look up Aquarius Maximus. I'm there as well. And then there's GUAP Coin on every social media platform. And the website for GUAP Coin is guapcoin.org.
Indeed. Once again, family, this is Brother Rich, UGR. I'm going to be back tomorrow, family, with Vicky Dillard at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So tune in tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with Vicky Dillard. I might have somebody on the show as well. But make sure you come back tomorrow. But with that being said, we get out of here, family. Aquarius Maximus, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Peace, family.